Let's see if this is it. Am I live now? Can you hear me? Ladies and gentlemen, can you hear me? You can always play Don. I think you can hear me. I'm hoping you can hear me. My God. Oh, thank God. Oh, I tell you what. It's just not fair. So you heard the sounds coming in. You just didn't hear my vocal, yeah? I don't know what the hell's going on, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I know what's going on. I got a new sound card, and obviously I had some issues this morning getting the sound reset up. Something happened. It updated last night, so it screwed up everything. I never thought about it, but I should have checked this at that time. But I do apologize for that odd start, the rough start. It's Don's fault, always, of course. No, he's not here. He's not here. It's just a new sound card, actually. And something updated last night because everything restarted overnight. So, and I did have other audio problems this morning. So, I don't know. I just hate it when that happens. I wish that I could stop that from happening. Maybe I can. I don't know. But anyway, what the hell is this? Oh, geez, Louise. That's not right. Hold on. As long as we're at it, we might as well add more to the bucket list here of things that are going wrong. That one. Ta-da. Jesus. Louises. All right. I think that's everything, ladies and gentlemen. My God. I might have to rebuild my hard drive while we're at it here. Don't even say it. I'm sorry. Knock on wood. But welcome to the show with our really screwed up intro. I don't know what... you just can't count on anything. We have all day. Well, thank you, Farmer. I appreciate that. I hope you guys are okay. Thank you all for joining me here on the Paranormal Portal. I saw the message that Bigfoot Odyssey is airing right now, too. I can't blame them. They got a right to do their show whenever they choose to. This is just the time that I always do my shows. So, no reason to stir up any controversies. It's just the nature of the beast. We all do our thing when we do our thing, and hopefully you're here. But if you're not, then go enjoy yourself. Nothing I can do about that. I can't claim the time slot. There's just nothing I can do. Everybody has a right to do their shows when they do them. So, but welcome to the show. This is our shorter format, obviously. Now that you can hear me without me muffling words emptily into the screen. I guess all I can tell you is that throughout the course of the show, the phone lines will be open, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to call in and be a part of the show, you are more than welcome. 720-923-0500 is the number for fun here on the Paranormal Portal. So if you got something paranormal to share, I'd love to hear from you. If you want to share something, somebody just called in. Wow, that was quick. I guess let me just do this first. I hope you're ready because it's time for bed. All right. Yep. Here we go. Here's our phone. Oh, our phone call just ended. Somebody just decided not to hold the line. It was from, I believe, New York. Was that you, Farm? If it was you, call back. Or if it was someone else, call back. I don't know who called. So, all right. Anyway, let's get going here. We got work to do. I've got work. Oh, there it is again. It is on the line. This is area code 518. You are on the air. Hello? I don't know what's going on. They're unmuted. Are you there? Hello? Area code 518. Oh, there we go. I can hear something now. Are you there? Hello? I don't know what's going on with the phone call there, guys. Whoever's calling in, Hello, are you there? Oh, that was it. All right. Well, they tried. Whoever it was tried. I could hear something happening, but apparently they couldn't figure out their mouthpiece or something. I don't know. Or they got some kind of Bluetooth issue. I've had those. Let's go anyway. On with the show. We've blown enough time here. Let's see what's going on. This is a few stories pulling up here to get you entertained. I've been working all day on the new narration stuff, and it's really exciting. I am really, really excited to be a part of this project and to have an opportunity to write my parts and to put them in, into the sound file and stuff. So I'm really looking forward to showing you guys what I'm working on. But unfortunately, we can't do that until it's released in December. So I got a lot of work ahead of me on that. It's not a quick project, but it is really cool to get to write my own parts, just with an idea what's going on. I get a given time slot. Look, this section you can narrate for this period of time, go, so I get to put together my own narration spot. So it's a lot of fun. So when you do see this film, and I hope you will, I hope you all will, you just know that I wrote my own parts. And if that sucks, just be nice. If you listen to it and go, oh my God, what was he thinking? Well, it's my fault, but just be kind. All right, let's get to the first story tonight. And this one's coming from Hawaii. We don't get a lot of Hawaii, so hopefully it's a good one. They got a lot of spiritual history in Hawaii. The Lord knows there's lots of ghost activity on those islands, but there's lots of natural energy on those islands too. I think that there's definitely a correlation between it being on the Pacific Ring of Fire and paranormal activity. I know that I've been to Hawaii and I've been to Indonesia, two countries that are also on the Pacific Ring of Fire. And in both places, it felt that natural energy was just incredible. Now, I don't know if you guys out there listening, or if any of you or all of you or any at all of you believe in such things as places having energy, but I certainly do. And I'm here to tell you that there's some places that, someone that's sensitive to that vibe, you can just feel that energy, and it's just incredible. And both places, when I was on both of those locations, it was just like, wow. I don't know, just like it feels like you're a part of a pulse. It's all I can tell you, but it's intoxicating. And if I lived on Hawaii, I would never move away. I'd be there all until they, dumped my corpse into the sea or whatever they do, or whatever I would do. I don't know. But it's just a beautiful place. Both places, Indonesia and Hawaii, are both really beautiful places. And they have that natural energy. And I really think that natural energy, such as volcanic activity and such, really can feed spiritual activity. I think there's something to that. And there's also something to, like, lots of storms. The activity in the atmosphere, atmospheric activity, certainly cranks up that same kind of response. So there's a reason that ghost movies and horror movies are depicted with thunderstorms. And it is creepy. It is weird for that effect. But I really think that on some level there's a correlation between that natural energy and spiritual activity, and maybe other types of paranormal activity as well, but certainly spiritual. So I'm not surprised. In fact, I guess what I am surprised at is we don't hear more stories coming out of Hawaii. But, we've heard from several friends of ours, like Obake Hunter, who was on the show a few times, and he shared a lot of his stories and experiences and stuff. And I think that there's a lot going on down there. So let's see what's going on in this story. And it's good sized story, not overly long, but it says, back in 1994, I'd begun a relationship with the love of my life. She would hang out at my house and I would cruise to hers, and always during the day. Our parents were pretty trusting of us, so they allowed us to spend nights sleeping over at each other's homes, but not in the same room. Well, the first night she stayed at my house after junior prom, I had an experience that could not be explained, which I had also submitted as a story. But this event happened, however, at the first night I stayed in her home. Sorry, I don't mean to stutter there. I realized I was misreading that and I had to stop myself. We spent the entire day together, and in the evening we sat and watched some television in the living room, and her mom said it was getting late and she wanted us to get to sleep. Well, my girlfriend tucked me into her bed and then went back to the living room to crash on the sofa. Oh, thank you, unknown. I appreciate it. That's awesome, brother. Thank you so much. I appreciate that a bunch. Hey, you. Hey, you. It says, hey, you. And, oh, we got another call from New York. Hold on to the call, please, just for a second. Let me get through the story. So she and I worked together. Oh, okay. And what the hell happened? I fell asleep and began to dream about her. And she and I were together, sitting in the living room, watching television. And just as we were before, we went to bed. We were having a blast, and everything was so peaceful and fun until he showed up. As we watched the TV, we noticed something peering from behind the television set in the hallway that led to her and her mother's bedrooms. Well, our attention was torn from the box to this peeping character, and it then leaped out from behind the wall into plain view. It was the most bizarre-looking man I had ever seen. He wasn't very tall, maybe just around 4 to 4.5 feet tall, and he was completely black except for his teeth and his eyes. They were both glowing white color. The eyes were like golf balls with no iris, and his teeth sharp like a shark. Well, he wasn't afraid to show his true nature. He began gnashing his teeth, and his body convulsed and jerked completely unnaturally. He threw profane gestures our way and then began to come closer to us. My girlfriend and I were in complete shock and repulsed at what we were seeing, and as he came closer, I could feel my heart pounding faster and faster and stronger as I slept in my body. I shot up from my sleep and was perspiring, and it was still dark, and I had the vision of the man still on my brain. I had never had such an intimidating and vivid dream before. Well, as I lay back down and took a deep breath, I was startled at the bedroom door being opened. Well, I was spooked. But then I focused my eyes and could see my girlfriend creeping into the bedroom with me. Sorry. And she climbed beside me and was whimpering a bit. She was a little surprised to see that I was already awake. Well, I asked her if she was okay, and she replied, I had a bad dream. There was this shadow man that scared me. I held her and described the shadow man to her, and she couldn't believe that I knew what her nightmare looked like. She told me that what had happened and where it happened, it was unreal. We both dreamt of the same thing in the same place at the same time. We both called this creature the shadow man, and from then on, and have never experienced him again in any shape or form. Or so we think. The hallway the shadow man appeared in our dreams is very interesting as well. When I hung out in her room on different occasions during the day, I would hear strange noises and footsteps on the rug just outside of her doorway. I never mentioned them to her, but after that experience, she explained that she always hated that hallway and feared going to the bathroom in the middle of the night in fear of seeing something strange. If anyone knows or has experienced the shadow man with shark-like teeth, I would love to hear about it. Thanks for listening and reading. That's very interesting, and I wonder if the girl has the phone call ended again. I don't know what's going on with that phone caller. I'm not sure. It's kind of there and then it's not, but it's coming from the same place. It looks like. So if you get your phone sorted out, give me a call. Again, I think it's the same person that has called 3 times now. So you're welcome to call again. I'm sorry that I didn't want to just interrupt the story because, I mean, this show is going to be viewed presumably by people into the future. And it's already a mess because of that sound issue at the front of the show. So I'm going to already have to edit this whole video. But I didn't want to be jumbling through content. I don't think that that's a good deal. So if any of you do call in, just understand I'll get to your call as soon as I can. But I can't just jump out of the middle of a story in order to jump to a call. As much as I love talking to you guys, I got to have a flow to this, at least some kind of semblance of professionalism. At least that's my goal. I don't know. It doesn't always work out that way, but that's always my goal. So, I guess since the call is not there, we'll go to the next story. And this one's a little bit longer than the last one. So if you're going to call in, you can call now because I don't want to start reading again. And I'll take a drink. There we go. All right. I feel better. Okay, well, I guess I'll dive into this story. And this one's coming out of Utah, and it has to do with apparitions, voices, and touches. So let's see what's going on. This is my first time submitting a story. I've had many experiences, but this is one of my most disturbing. I feel like it should have been something in a movie, but it wasn't. Oh, this is a different caller now. Hold the line. I'll get to you in a second. I guess I could do it now since I just started reading that story. All right, caller 605, you're on the air.
Hello?
Hello. How are you?
Hello?
Hi. Can you hear me? Oh, God. Wait a second. Shoot. Let me see.
I will try back later. I can't hear anything.
Oh, Taco, I know. Hold on, brother. Hold on. I guess the audio screwed up for that too. Let me get to this. I just don't love it. I don't love it when these sound issues happen. That's what's wrong. Hold on. Okay. There it is. Okay, now it should work. Now the sound will work on the phones. Now I realize what was going on. Again, my mistake. Yeah, this is a night of comedy of errors, isn't it? So what happens also when the sound issues happen, it dumps the driver from everything. Skype, my broadcasting software, which you guys witnessed at the beginning of the show, and I had to reset the system sounds as well. So it looks like Taco's back on the line there, so let's get him on. All right, are you there? Are you there?
Hello?
Hi, can you hear me now?
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Oh, whew, I'm glad you can hear me. Yeah, I had to fix some sound issues. Sorry that's been happening. It's been a weird night, but it's just the way it is. So how you doing, brother?
Good, you?
I'm good, thanks. I've just been busy working on the narration project, but yeah, things are good.
Good. It's kind of normal for things to be weird, though, isn't it? I mean, it's the portal.
Well, it is with computer problems, especially, and I realize there's a lot of electronic stuff going on any time I do a show. So there's a lot of things that can just go sideways and stuff. It's just, I don't know. You'd think I'd learn one of these times, but I keep having to reinvent my own wheels, so to speak. But it is what it is. Not much you can do about it.
Okay, now I'm calling because I actually had to ask you I don't know if you'd call it personal, but it's more of a personal curiosity for me.
Okay.
Now, a while back, I remember watching one of the shows, and you did a lot of focusing on that orb that appeared in your studio.
Okay.
Do you remember that?
The one that appeared alongside of me, yeah. If that's
Yeah. I was just kind of.
Yep.
I was just kind of curious. I've been listening to Moya's podcast.
Okay, yeah. Okay. The Believe podcast, sure.
Yeah. Hey.
Yep.
Do you think when you saw that orb, it could have been a form of a Min light, or do you think it was something different?
I think Min lights are generally a bigger phenomena than that. They're more like, I don't know, from what I understand of them, they're usually like softball to basketball size. And of course, the one that appeared in here was little more than a speck. I mean, it was just pretty tiny. So I don't know. That's the weird thing is it's hard to know if one could be the same as the other. Does the size matter? Sorry. But
good one.
But, I don't know if one equals the other just in the fact that they're both balls of light, or is there a differentiation because of the size of them? Does that also indicate a different type of energy or different power? So like the one that appeared next to me was very small. I mean, it was very tiny. In fact, it was much smaller than the ones that I've seen with my naked eye, which are about the size of a quarter. And the one that appeared floating next to me was just little more than, I don't know, what would I say it would be the size of? Maybe I don't know, like an aspirin. It was about the size of an aspirin, I suppose. Which is pretty small, maybe even smaller than that. But yeah, the Min lights are generally bigger, that they can be seen at a distance and stuff. And I think the one that was here was pretty small.
Okay, now when it comes to those orbs like you saw and the Min light, the main question I had tonight for you is, I know I don't have any new paranormal experiences to call and tell you about, which I really wish I did, but
that's okay.
you know, we see more orbs than the Min lights here.
Okay.
Now, do you think, as far as our orbs, do you think that maybe there's a different energy or different kind of perception to those things that could be considered as maybe an orbs here would be a smaller, less intense version of a Min light than in Australia? Because after listening to his podcast and everything like that, Min lights seem to be something very profound and very pronounced there, and like here we're more focused on everything else. So do you think maybe the thoughts, or I guess I'm trying to say the energy or the thoughts into trying to figure out what this is, since it's not something big here, maybe that is a form of a Min light, but since it's more pronounced there, that they show up bigger because it has more energy? Do you think that could be a possibility, or do you think an orb is more of a spiritual / paranormal, more paranormal thing for us than them?
Sure. Well, here's the thing is that we have, even over here in the U.S., there's reports of these huge orbs moving in forest areas and stuff, and wild areas, and in mountains and all over the place. And so I think there is, a correlation between their Min lights and our, different lights like that are legendarily seen all over the place. I don't know that it's a different phenomena, but I don't think it's the same thing as like orbs that I've witnessed. I tend to believe the smaller ones are probably some spirit or energy. However, the Min lights may be, but they may be something else too. They might be some kind of earth energy, or they might be an extraterrestrial component to them. There may be some kind of, super intelligent orb that's built on an energy design, or some kind of quantum, matrix of sorts that we just couldn't understand.
Yeah.
So there's so many things. And that's where the trouble is with orbs, is that to say orbs, it's like a general, a very general, broad term. An orb is just a ball of light, but there's so many different things that could be orbs, from UFOs to spirits to nature spirits to other transdimensional creatures, perhaps, or cryptids, or the Fae are often depicted, viewed and seen as orbs of light. The will-o'-the-wisps over in the UK and in Europe are a different phenomena, but they're probably all the same and interrelated to some degree. But it may be just how we perceive those different energies. Maybe they don't manifest as their true form, or maybe they, it's a much more big active energy, so that it's easiest for them to just appear as ball of lights. I don't know, but there's such a crossover and bleed through from different phenomena, UFOs, spiritual, or something cryptid, and we just don't know, because there's been stories of this I heard on Sasquatch Chronicles a long time ago, but there's like some gentleman out there investigating a Bigfoot area, and they ended up seeing these like blue balls of light drifting through the forest. And so they checked on it. They're like, what the hell is this? They were looking for Bigfoot, not orbs. But they found these balls of orbs. And then what happened was, suddenly they ended up like challenging the orbs, or like acting aggressive towards them. And the orbs started coming at them. And now this is me very much paraphrasing this, and I might be screwing it up a little. But from what I remember of the stories, these orbs actually kind of popped and became little creatures and started running at them, and they got freaked out. The only thing they had was flashlights, so they shone their flashlight on it. As soon as they did, they became orbs again and drifted away. And I guess this went on for hours of them dealing with these things coming in at them and popping into little creatures and then popping back into orbs. So, I don't know. It's a really weird subject.
That kind of makes me think, because I've seen a lot of videos on fairies and stuff like that. And do you think it could be something like that? I mean, with
Absolutely.
all the encounters and all the stories, as you said before, and I believe there's always truth behind some of this. That's where most of this comes from.
Right.
You know, like the Kraken was probably a giant squid.
Sure.
That came up.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
Are you laughing at me, Sam?
Who?
Oh. Sorry. As soon as I said Kraken, my girlfriend started laughing, so I thought she was laughing at me.
What's wrong with your Kraken?
But
No, I think it could be. It could be all of the above, brother. And that's the weird part about the paranormal is that we just don't know. All we can do is throw ideas at it and throw theories at it. But there's such a broad scope that means orbs, and it's hard to nail it down to any one thing. And all we can do is just guess. You know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And not to keep you on the line too long, but I had another question for you.
Okay.
Because I listened to, obviously, Moya's podcast, and I listened to the one where you were on there explaining your UFO experience.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, the two saucers with the lights in the center spinning around.
Yes.
Now, my question for you is, when you saw that, other than the obvious thoughts that went through your head, what... I know there's multiple alien species that people have said they're out there.
Uh-huh.
What species do you believe, or what, I guess, what phylum classification of UFO do you believe you witnessed that night? Like what, because they have the reptilian, they have the grays, and all this other stuff. What do you think was a plausible species in your mind that could have been? Because I know they've said there's good aliens, there's bad aliens, and all this other stuff. What, in your mind, what species, after all that encounter, do you believe it was, and did you do any more research into that particular vessel as to what phylum, I guess, it would be considered?
Okay, so what I think it was, I have no idea, because all I saw was a craft. I didn't see any indication that there was, and I mean, they weren't like anything looking out the window at me or anything. I didn't see any windows. I just saw this like two pie plates with the lights flashing in between, saucer shape above the trees. I didn't see any portals at all that I could see into. And then again, I'm looking through a very chroma keyed green screen. So it's like through the night vision generation 1, it's all just green and black. So there isn't, it's hard to pull any details. I couldn't tell you what color those lights were, just that they were lights. They could have been any spectrum of color, but everything I was seeing was being represented as a tone of green. So it's hard to know. But I really didn't have any. I didn't walk away from that thinking, wow, those were some grays up there looking at me, or those are lizards or mantis or, any of those. But all I've done since then, I've tried to see if anybody out there might know what could have been driving that craft, because that, of course, is on my mind. It's like, who was looking at me? What kind of creature would that have been? And why were they interested enough in me just to sit there above the tree watching me? And, and what I did do is reach out to a friend who studies the UFO phenomenon, and he had this chart of all these different reported craft, and I think it's out of MUFON that published this chart, but it's just all these different craft that were described and have been reported. And I found one on there that was very similar. I felt it was really close to what I saw. And so I asked him, I said, well, who is believed to be piloting these? Now, I don't know where he would know from, and I don't know, how anybody would know who drives what. But what he said was he felt it was a Pleiadian craft, or Pleiadian, however you pronounce that. And apparently they're supposed to look kind of human-like, I guess, from what I understand. So, I mean, it's possible, but really I don't know, brother. I mean, it's just anybody's guess.
Huh. I was always curious about that, and I finally had a chance to call you and kind of pick your brain about this stuff. I mean, I could pick your brain all night, but I know nobody wants to listen to me all night. So
no, it's fine. I mean, I'm happy to talk about any of it. Any of the reports that I've shared. I'm not a guarded or closed book kind of person. I'm glad to talk about it, but I wish I had more answers on all of it. I really don't, though. I don't know. Most of what I've experienced, I can't explain what it was or what it is or why it happened, but it's just, I've seen a lot of different things, and good, bad, or otherwise. And I like that I have personally. I like having experiences because it just reminds me, because I mean, anything in life, you just forget. You forget to be excited about it. And so when I experience new things, it reinvigorates my excitement. Like going to Coloma at the beginning of July was such a huge thing. I was so happy coming back from there. Don and I had a blast and meeting some of the listeners and stuff that came and hanging out with the Duke and his team. It was just phenomenal. But those kind of things just reinvigorate my curiosity and my drive to try to see if I can learn something new.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that whole Coloma thing you guys had, I was pretty jealous about that because that's my kind of my home stomping grounds, and it was pretty awesome to see. And here in the jar, I believe, or the bowl.
Yeah, the bowl.
EVP. That was pretty intense. I would have really loved to be there, and I've actually been talking to another guy who lives here in South Dakota. He's about 3 hours away, and he did some investigating of his own, and I told him to check out the show and maybe call in and tell his experience, because he's got a video on YouTube where
cool.
He's near an old school here, and he's all by himself because his friends were sleeping, and he went out exploring, and he put his camera up and his light up, and this black shadow figure went shooting across one of the windows.
Ooh, that's cool.
And he freaked out. He got all of his friends, and they went into that room, and it was a window between two doors. And when you open these doors, it was just two brick walls, so there's nowhere for anybody to go. And it like floated by. And I've been trying to get him to come on the show and give you a call. Maybe he could share the video, and you could see that little snippet he had. But there's a place up here called Fort Sisseton is what it's called, and it was actually part of I believe a Civil War campground.
Okay.
And I've been trying to see. I'm going to talk to my cousin this weekend to see, what kind of conditions it is, because I'd like to actually go up there and do a little exploring around at night myself one of these days when I get time free.
Sure.
And I think that'd be really cool, if maybe people that are closer to this area that enjoy the show we could go up there and do a campground thing, because I mean it'd be quite a trip for everybody. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm game to do more. Believe me, it's something that's on my mind. Just as a point of reference, we're planning on doing the Coloma thing annually. Like it's going to be an annual trip. So just plan ahead for next year, brother, and join us for sure.
I would love to do that, and I'm hoping that I could get my daughter kind of into some of this. I mean, that'd be great, and I'd love to show up there and just meet people and hang out, because after being in a chat room for so long and talking to you, it's like talking to family. So getting together in person would be no
amazing.
Big deal. It'd just be like being around family,
Yeah, exactly. And that's really the way it worked out in Coloma. The people that came were amazing. We all got along. And that's always the part you don't know. Like when you get together, people, it's like, how is everybody going to get along? Is there going to be drama or anything? But it was really, really comfortable. Everybody was fantastic. And, it just really felt so great to have that experience. And I hope more people will come. That'd be great.
Yeah, I'd love to, if Seeds could make it, and, everybody else in the chat room, like Nessie. I know Nessie's a long ways away, so
Nessie,
stuff like that. I think that'd be great,
Yep. Yeah, that'd be really cool. That's everybody's welcome.
So
we'll definitely pull another one together for sure. But yeah, I mean, if you have any leads on other places to check out, I'd be willing to entertain them. I mean, my schedule's not completely wide open, but I'm doing my best to try to pull together something for the end of this month to try to join the Duke over there for a Bigfoot one. But I don't think I can make it work. It's looking really busy for me through the end of the month anyway. But Don and I really want to add more of the factor into the shows. We love getting out there and doing it, and you guys have been really great about telling us you enjoy those videos and those sound files and stuff. So we'd love to do more of it and add another facet to what we do on the show.
Yeah, I've been considering trying to get something set up for the listeners and you and Don and everybody else to possibly do something in Deadwood, South Dakota.
Ooh,
because that's there's a lot of history there, and if I can, I know I've heard of some places in Deadwood where it gets a little creepy at night,
Perfect.
where I'd like to go there, and or somewhere like that, or even back in Coloma. I'd love to get there because I want to experience this stuff more for myself, other than just a cup flying off my kitchen table, or all these UFOs I've seen and lights in the windows and all that stuff. I'd love to be able to do that. So any way I could come and possibly spread the word and help out and hang out with all you guys, that'd be fantastic. So,
well, the door's open, brother. Just keep your ears open for when we announce something else, and join us if you can. We'd love to meet you and see you.
Yeah, I feel the same way, but if Cha-Cha shows up, I might have to reschedule my whole day. I'm just kidding. But anyways, I'm gonna stop bleeping in your ear here and let you get back to your show, and hopefully somebody else will call in. But I wanted to pick your brain tonight, and I really appreciate the time you've given me. So,
it's great to talk to you, brother. Thank you, and call in anytime.
All right, we'll see you guys here in a little bit.
Okay, take care.
Bye.
All right, very cool. So that was why I couldn't answer the New York call. I'm very sorry to the person who called in from New York. It's not cool when I got issues. I didn't even know I had that issue, but that's the way it goes. I hate to miss a call because I love hearing from you guys. So if the caller from New York, if you're there listening, call in again. I think I can talk to you now. I didn't realize I couldn't before. I thought I was talking to you then, but that was my mistake. So my apologies. There's some. I think this might be the Duke. Hey, is this the Duke? Hello?
Howdy.
Hi, I knew it was you. I knew that number. Welcome to the show,
Yeah.
brother. How's it going? Yeah.
I figured as long as we were on the subject of Coloma, I'd give you guys a little update.
Yes, please.
As Brent knows, I was up there trying to shoot some comparison footage for the embankment peaker that he caught by accident last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I managed to get the subject that was playing the part of the stand-in for the peaker in exactly the right spot, and I wasn't. So I get to go up there a third time and try and do that.
Oh.
But the one thing you can see from the one that I took is since we had the other person in the right place and I was within about 2 feet of where you were standing,
Mm-hmm.
you can definitely get a size comparison. And when he was standing in that second little gully back there where we assumed that whatever it was
Yep.
standing at, you can barely see him.
Oh my
This
God.
thing had to be 3 feet taller than he is.
What is his height?
6 feet.
Oh, jeez. Well, there you have
About
it.
3 times as wide as he is, too, because his shoulders you couldn't see at all other than his head and his arms sticking up in between those 2 little trees.
Oh my
It didn't,
God.
It wasn't on either side of it like whatever it was that you filmed was.
That's crazy. Wow. So that narrows the list of suspects, then, doesn't it?
Yeah. Whatever it was very large, and I definitely will be getting up there sometime before the snow flies with one other person to stand in the right place. Now I know exactly where I have to be standing.
Okay.
And so that's why I'm not casting any shade on you, Brent, because it's really hard to do lineup shots sometime and get in the exact same, 2 or 3 inches, square inches of earth where you were originally when you filmed it. You literally need to be that close sometimes to get it to work so you can get a good comparison. So
Yeah.
it ain't easy. You tried it, I tried it, and neither one of us got it right yet. But while I was up there, I ran into a gentleman that's got property right next to there, just down the hill from there.
Okay.
He has property, and he was up there on his ATV, and he's in communication with the local university team that's doing the research up there.
Okay.
And he knows the lady, and he's got pictures of this place going all the way back into the 1890s.
Oh my God.
That aren't available on the internet, so I'm going to try and see if I can get a hold of this guy and get some more good pictures and stuff out of him. But interestingly, he knows just about as much about this place as we do, which is
Really?
oh my God, it's not just us. There just isn't anything known. The only blanks he could add in is that it was, I think he said 1888 it was founded.
Oh, 1888.
And for some reason in 1902, I think he said it was abandoned.
Oh, that early. Okay.
And then people came back again in 1911 and were there until 1922 and then abandoned it again.
Wow. That's amazing.
So, yeah, this place has been abandoned twice, Brent. It's extra weird and mysterious now. And I asked him about that, and I said, don't you think that's a little odd? He goes, yes, actually, I do.
Yeah, it is. Wow. That's really interesting. So the plot
Yep.
thickens.
He said the second time they were up there, they had short-range electrical running. They weren't hooked up to a grid or anything, but they had like a water turbine or wind turbine or something they had hauled up nearby.
Okay.
That was supplying close-range power to the mine for what equipment they had at the time that needed electrical, which wasn't very much, but they needed some.
Sure.
And apparently that was the second time that they were there that they had that up. So the town actually was never wired for power or anything.
Okay.
They did have some nearby power that they were running for the mine the second time that people were up there. So.
Wow. That is really interesting.
And I asked him about the haunted hunting shack, and he said, yeah, somebody else owns that. They're never up here. I haven't been able to find out who it is yet. It's been there for a few decades. It's not part of the original town.
Right.
I think it's somebody's hunting shack, too, but they're never there. Like, if they still own it, they abandon it, or they're dead and their kid has the deed and they don't know about it or something.
Wow, yeah, because you can tell nobody's really... I mean, people might have been stopping through, like, hey, there's a shack here as they're hiking, but... the windows are all broken out.
Yeah.
It's in just such a state of disrepair. It's really tragic. But then again, given the energy of the place, I can't imagine anybody.
Yeah, it's understandable too. It's creepy during the day. You definitely don't want to be in there in the dark.
Yeah, the dark is a whole nother level of weird and creepy. So, yeah, that's really.
Well, I can vouch for that because the first time I was there was 2015, and then I was there every summer since then. And between 2015 and 2018, every time I was there, I went up and checked the haunted hunting shack. And there was no change whatsoever.
Yeah.
It looked the same as it had the year before, until this year when somebody broke a window.
Yeah, which I was really sad to see, but then again...
Me too.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because now the elements are going to get in there and really screw it up, but...
And, that'll wreck it up faster.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
So, anyway, I just figured I'd give you the quick updates on that, and, like you were mentioning, I've been trying to get you over here for the Bigfoot expedition coming at the end of the month. We got some celebrity squatchers from other parts of the country showing up.
Woo.
So it'd be really cool if you could make it. But,
yeah, I'll do my best.
They'll try and understand their best if you can't.
Yeah, believe me, I would be there for no problem if I could be. But it's just going to be a squeeze for me this month for sure. But if I can swing it, I'll pull it together, brother. I promise.
Try and fit it, and remember, we're doing everything we can to help. We got your ride over here, and we got you all your camping gear you need. Just got to drag yourself and enough ching for a few days worth of food with you, and you're good to go.
All right, brother. I appreciate that a bunch. Thank you.
All righty. Well, I'll let you go. Everybody have fun, and thanks to all the wacky paranauts over there in the chat room. You guys are a blast. I love all the paralads and paraladies over there. You guys are always fun.
All right, brother. Thanks for calling. It's good to hear from you.
All righty. Don't hug the Wookiee, everybody. Night.
Good night. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I love the call-ins. It's the biggest part of the show for me is when people call in. But I just love me some paranormal, and I just want to say before we end up being done with the show tonight, tomorrow night I'll be doing the portal, of course, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I'm planning a giveaway. I'm going to do another portal quiz for all you portalites out there. So if you're interested in winning a Paranormal Portal t-shirt, then stay tuned because that'll be happening on tomorrow night's show. So I hope you'll be there. If you want a chance to win, you got to be there because it's a quiz. There's going to be questions. So we'll see how all that works, ladies and gentlemen. But that'll be tomorrow night. So let me get through this show. This story that I was starting to read, but I thought I'd go right to the calls to move that along. How about Taco? Those are about all spoken for. So I need more key fobs if you want key fob giveaways. I just think people want them, dude. That's all I can tell you. So keep that press going. Those are great. What he's referring to, let me just pull the one out, is Taco's latest gift to the portal is this cool aluminum key fob, and I don't think you can see it because it's small text, but it says Paranormal Portal etched into that baby. Taco made this. This is on my keys. So, and on the back it says with Brent Thomas and Don Longbeard, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is one of 4 that were made, and I got number 1. So can't give that away. So that's on my keys. That is the Taco's continued additions to the Paranormal Portal. He's just a brilliant man for sure. But thank you, Taco, for that again. But he sent me 4 of them, and I don't know. I think they're all spoken for, brother. I can't give away what I don't have. Hint. No, but I tell you what, guys, Taco is just incredibly talented young man, and he's, of course, again, made the sign back here that's glowing. That is about an 1/8-inch steel, and it's built to withstand, I think, nuclear fallout and blasts and hurricanes and, of course, anything the paranormal has to throw at it. But it might be bulletproof, too. I'm not sure, but I'm betting it is for most calibers. Anyway, that was what he made. He's got it plasma cut, and I mounted it and put lights behind it, and it's beautiful. The centerpiece for the new studio. So, all right, let's get to this story out of Utah and see what we can find out from this. Again, having to do with apparitions, voices, and touches. So, I'm going to start off by being frank. I have a hard time with the paranormal. It's not that I don't believe in it. I've always been somewhat sensitive. But it does scare me. I know it shouldn't, but I can't help it. I'm fascinated with the paranormal, but when it comes down to facing it head on, I retreat. I don't feel that I should seek it out. I would rather leave them at peace. If they want to communicate with me, that's one thing, but I'm not going to hunt them down. Maybe I can get some pointers on how to control my fear and nerves and to resist the urge to just run away. Anyway, I know for a fact that my home is occupied by a spirit. Ever since I can remember, I get an anxious feeling in my basement. I feel like someone's watching me and like someone always follows me up the stairs. Even 10 plus years of this, I still look behind me as I go up the stairs. Almost every night, I can hear someone walking around in the upstairs kitchen, but that's always been the extent of it. Well, about 6 years ago, I was sitting at the kitchen table when I heard our very loud, squeaky screen door open and shut. So I looked over, but there was no one there. I just wrote it off as my imagination and kept doing what I was doing. And a few moments later, I heard this intense, heavy breathing in my right ear. That is such a terrible thing. The best I can describe it is almost asthmatic. I can still hear it in my head, and I don't like it. I looked around and didn't see anything, got scared, and just ran into the other room. Well, a few days went by that were pretty uneventful. I was in the kitchen again. I heard the same breathing in the corner of the room, and I looked around and didn't see anything. And I had some reaction. I had the same reaction that I did before. I got scared and ran to the other room. I began hearing this breathing more often and eventually began hearing it exclusively in my bedroom, coming from the far corner opposite of my bed. I tried to write it off as just my imagination, but I'd stop breathing to try to prove to myself that it was all in my head, but the breathing would continue, even as I stopped breathing to listen. So I'd just put the covers over my head and just try to go to sleep. One particular night, I had the covers over my head as this breathing was going on and felt my bed droop down like someone was sitting near my feet. I was paralyzed. I didn't know what to do or what to say. Eventually, the bed rose as if the being stood up and just left the room. After that, things got worse. Electronics would go crazy. TVs would change channels or turn on and off of their own accord. Alarm clocks would go off when they weren't even set. Radios would turn on at full blast on their own, etc. And I started to see things. I was down in my basement doing laundry when out of the corner of my eye, I saw someone walk down the hallway. I turned my head to see who it was, and all I saw was this person's leg, like they were walking away, disappear behind the doorway. I looked around, but I didn't see or hear anyone go up the stairs. My sister said she saw the top of someone's head go into my bedroom out of the corner of her eye. She thought it was me because it had brown hair like mine, but I was in another room down the hall. I heard that breathing in my room every night for weeks. It got to the point where I didn't want to sleep in there anymore. I slept on the couch more often than not, and one night, around 1 a.m., I was up watching television with the lights on. I had this absurd belief that nothing could get to you in the light. Psh, yeah, right. Well, my dad worked graveyards, so it was just me and my sister at home, but she was asleep. I was sitting there when someone walked into the doorway. I looked over thinking it was my sister, but what I saw will honestly be burned into my brain for the rest of my life. It was a very tall person with shoulder-length, wavy brown hair. There were no gender features at all. All I saw was a solid white body with arms and legs, and I remember the hands and figures being very prominent. All I saw in the face was 2 huge black holes where the eyes should have been. No nose, no mouth. I was like a deer in the headlights. I was just frozen. It just looked at me for what seemed like minutes and slowly turned and walked towards my bedroom. I've never been so terrified in all of my life. I couldn't move. I couldn't sleep at all that night. And the whole time, I was paranoid that it would come back. But it didn't. The next couple of days went by with nothing happening, and I honestly thought maybe it was over. But alas, the breathing started again. But back in the kitchen where it had originally began. I kind of got fed up at this point and told it that I was tired of it scaring me and I wanted it to leave. A few minutes later, I heard the squeaky screen door open and then close again. And I haven't experienced anything like that since. Just the typical basement anxiety and someone walking around in the kitchen at night. All of this occurred over a period of about 6 months. To this day, if I see a movie with disembodied breathing or am watching a paranormal show that catches breathing on EVPs, I get flashbacks and just freak out. I don't believe that it was malevolent in any way, but it still scared the bejesus out of me and continues to scare me. I'm afraid the breathing will come back. I find it odd all this began and ended with the door opening and closing. Not physically that I know of. I just heard it. Is there such thing as a traveling spirit? I like to think of it as my traveling ghost, although I really don't wish it to come back. Well, there is. I'm pretty confident that there is. I think there are spirits that just come and go. They may come by and do some creepy stuff and then move on. And I don't know why. I don't know what it gets them or what the whole purpose is. I really don't know why that happens, but it doesn't seem to be, sometimes it seems that spirits they're anchored somewhere for some reason. Maybe they don't have a choice. Maybe they're just stuck. It could be an emotional thing, could be something else, but they just don't seem to be able to leave a given place. But then you hear about people that don't have any activity, all of a sudden hear something come in and footsteps, and then for an entire night they're terrorized, and then they hear it leave, and that's it. Just like a one-off, like something just stopped by to freak someone out. And I don't know why. I don't understand what that situation is, but I guess it makes sense. 10 minutes of overtime. What? I don't know. I guess we could do a little overtime. We're already on overtime. It's 8:01 right now. I'm sure I could do another story. So, but very interesting. I do think that there are transient spirits that can just move around, and probably if we could just instantaneously see every spiritual being around us, like even when we're outside and stuff, we'd probably be freaked out. I think there are really literally that many spiritual entities around at any given time. I just think for the most part, they do their own thing. They're just living their existence in whatever state they're in, and they're in that state living their existence for some purpose. Perhaps they were once living, perhaps they never were a person that was alive. Perhaps that they are just spiritual beings that are here to work with energy or work with the natural environment, or I think that there are things like sylphs and dryads and and elementals and things like that. I think that there's a whole catalog of things, and there's transdimensional things that really aren't physical at all, but we perceive them as spirits as well. We don't understand a whole lot outside of our three dimensions. We really don't. Even our three dimensions are a mystery, to be completely honest, but at least we have physics, we have sciences and things to help us understand those three dimensions. But there's a lot more dimensions going on. And there's a lot more things that exist beyond what we can perceive, at least actively perceive for most of us. So I think that these other beings just live in that other space, maybe just a little vibrationally out of phase with us. Like maybe in their own experience, they're very physical, but in our experience, they're not. And maybe we're not to them. There's that angle too. Perhaps they're just in the same place, but in a different time vibration. Because I often think that time maybe is a vibration rather than a given period in the eternity of moments. I think that time is vibration, and perhaps we are existing in all of those times as well. But wherever we were at emotionally, or spiritually, or whatever, that's what carries us through these vibrational changes. Is that there's all kinds of us's in every vibrational instance. But we move through these vibrations and we perceive that as time. I don't know. Just some thoughts. Again, I think about a lot of weird stuff. You got to understand. It's really busy in my head most of the time. So, I don't know. Take it or leave it. I don't pretend to know, but I got a lot of ideas about that stuff. So, yeah, I think it is possible for spirits to be transient and move around. The next one I'm going to read you because that's just how I roll. And I think this will be the last one. This may be a 10-minute story or at least a few minutes. It'll be several minutes anyway. So this one's coming out of Pennsylvania. And I'm giving you this bonus because I started off making the show suck because my sound issues were not resolved. Didn't even think to check it. How would an amateur, right? All right, here we go. Pennsylvania. This has to do with haunted places. Recently, I moved from one student dorm to the other. I haven't heard anything about any ghost activity until after things began to happen to me. The first few nights, I was bothered by the sound of someone walking back and forth behind me, near the bathroom and closet, but I chose to ignore it. Then a few months down the line, there was much more activity, all happening in the same time in one night. It kept me awake, and I got absolutely no sleep. While I was lying down, I kept hearing a very odd sound. It was similar to music playing in headphones, but there was nothing on. I checked my iPod and my headphones weren't even plugged in, and my roommate doesn't have an MP3 player. The sound was either coming from inside my dresser or behind it. Also coming from behind my dresser was the sound of someone sweeping with a broom. I thought maybe that's coming from upstairs, and since we can't hear sounds from nearby rooms. But as I laid and analyzed more, it definitely came from in front of me in our room. I still tried my best to ignore it, but the moment I buried myself under my comforter, I heard another sound. It sounded like someone was once again walking around me, behind me, moving plastic bags around, or maybe even rummaging through the closet. I didn't bother to look up since I knew my roommate was asleep on the other side of the room, about 2 feet away from my bed. Speaking of my roommate, I ended up hearing some very deep breathing. Breathing I would later on hear. I thought maybe it was the people next door, and no, it got louder and sounded as if it was someone lying in bed with my roommate. You can always tell if the sound is in your room or in another room. Later on, in this same room, I was awoken one night to my bed shaking. I still had never heard of there being any ghosts in the building at this point, so I wasn't making up things according to what others had experienced. Sometimes when half awake, what happens in the real world incorporates itself into my dreams. In my dream, my bed was being hit by someone angry on the bottom bunk, but then I woke up and I thought, I don't have a bunk bed. Why is it rocking? and the bed shook so much I ended up rolling into the wall and hitting it with a thud. I lay still, and it felt as if someone had climbed into my bed and placed their cold hand on my thigh. I tried to ignore it and eventually rolled over and thought about random stuff to keep me from thinking about what had just happened. I eventually joined a Facebook group directed towards my student building and saw a post about ghost activity. It seems that other people had experienced what I had, and there was supposedly a 7th floor ghost, the floor that I'm on. We also hear what sounds like marbles dropping. People from all over the building on different floors that don't know each other have heard these sounds. I've even heard it while on the 10th floor, the highest floor in the building, so no one above me, yet I was hearing marbles dropping, and it was in the same pattern each time. And just today, while lying in bed watching television, I closed my eyes to think without having the cartoon disturb my thoughts, and it felt like someone was pressing down on my back. At one point, I couldn't utter a sound because it was so much pressure. I wanted to alert someone to come check on me, but all I could do was weakly knock on the wall, and unfortunately, no one else was in the room with me, so crying out or knocking wouldn't do anything. And oddly enough, I heard the same breathing in my ear that I heard beside my roommate a few months ago. I attempted to jerk away from the pressure, but it kept overpowering me. Every time I went to move away from it, the more pressure would be applied, as if it knew when I was going to try to escape. I've never in my life felt so trapped in a bed until this day. At one point, the pressure on my back and neck made me hot. It was as if it had pressed both knees on my back and held my neck down with their hands. Was it a case of being half asleep and half awake? But how so if I was clearly thinking to myself about how to get out of the situation and even knocked on the wall at one point? I was trying to do anything I could to get away, but the person was too strong. I have no idea what it was in the room, but it is highly unpleasant. There you have it. That's not a good roommate. I don't know. But we made it to about 8:10, so it's almost 8:10, shy by a minute, but it'll probably... Nope, it's 8:10. Perfect. So I gave you 10 minutes of overtime, ladies and gentlemen, to compensate for the weird sound issues at the front of the show, but we got it all ironed out. It looks like everything is functioning normally, which is good, but I hope you guys are doing wonderful. Thank you so much. Give this massive ghost my address, please. This massive ghost my address. Sure, we'll give out your address. Just put it in the chat room there, chat. I'm sure it'll be fine. You are welcome, Gemini. Thank you. And thank you to everybody. Thank you, Farm. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you all. I hope you guys all have a great night. I will continue to be here again tomorrow night. Tune in because we'll be giving away a little bit of Paranormal Portal gear. That's all I'm going to say. We're going to have some quizzes going on. And I did say S at the end, so that's not just a quiz. I'm going to have quizzes. Okay, so I hope you guys will tune in and be a part of it. And I guess that about does it for me tonight. Make sure to become subscribed if you're not already to our YouTube channel. Check out the podcast. If you already do, great. If you don't, do it, please. I think you'd enjoy it. There's always great new episodes there, and they are normally like 90+% of the time they are brand new episodes. So sometimes we take YouTube episodes that have gone really well or have great information on them and port those over for the podcast listeners, because our listeners on the podcast, there's a lot different audience. Not a lot different. There's some of you that do both, but for the most part, it's just a different group of people. So we like to bring as much of the good information and stuff over to them. But yeah, again, tomorrow night, giveaways. Don will be back on Saturday with me, and we'll dig into more of our fun nights as well. So I guess that's all I got for you. But take care. I hope you know, and always remember that I love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow night, 7 p.m., and we'll do some giveaways. So stay tuned. I'll see you then. Until then, spread the word. Let people know about the portal. We've got to keep growing, ladies and gentlemen, and I need your help to do that. Since we don't advertise the show, I'm relying on all of you to help me spread the word. So I appreciate your love and your support. Thank you for all the kind messages and emails I get every day. That just means the world. Thank you so much. So that's all I got for you. Take care. Have a good night and sweet dreams.